Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Manager 2023 in another part of this Newcastle series as we begin our third season as manager of the club. Last season we did manage to win the Carabao Cup, but it was a disappointing finish in the League and Champions League as we failed to make any real inroads towards that title. At no point did the title seem like it was going to come to Newcastle, and ultimately it went to Liverpool. But you can see so far this season, pre-season's gone very well, only conceding maximum 2 goals, scoring 4-5 goals in all but one game, not against the most illustrious opposition in the world, but still a very good outcome. And if we have a look at our transfer history, we'll have to look at the end of last season first. You can see quite a few players did leave the club. We let Matt Targett go to Celtic for £21 million. That feels like a good return given he wasn't really playing for us, nearly doubling the amount of money that we paid. We also let Sean Longstaff go to Burnley for £6 million. Shame to let one of the homegrown talents go, but he also just wasn't really playing much for us. Kieran Trippier had become a little bit of a liability, I think, towards the end of last season, so he's now gone as well. We will miss those sensational assists, but hopefully the players we brought in can do the job. Ben Brereton Diaz was a surprise departure, but I just don't think he was quite at the level we needed him to be. At no point did he get towards that 7 average rating, and a bid came in out of nowhere, so we let him leave for 21 million. Miggy Almiron, another sad departure to go. Obviously a great player for Newcastle, but again, look at that first season we had him when he was great. Last season barely played, didn't quite get the performances, and 13 million is a good amount of money. And finally, the last sad departure, Joe Linton. And this feels a bit like we're saying goodbye to those players that were there when we came in. We've got an almost completely overhauled squad now, but Joe Linton as well just wasn't playing much. He was very much a rotation player in central midfield. And Muakoko's gone on loan as well because I don't think he was going to play all that much for us. And then, still supposed to be looking at last season here, you can see we also let Nick Pope go for £33.5 million. That just felt like a huge amount of money for Nick Pope, who's 32 years old and not necessarily the best goalkeeper in the world, so he's now gone. We also let Jamal Lewis go for 1.5 million and Matteo Gabbia go for 8.5. He wasn't really playing at all for us, 14 appearances and a £4 million hit on Gabbia there, but he was brought in just to help cover the central defensive areas. Now, we spent a huge amount of money last season, 377 million, but we brought some players in before last season came to an end. So the first one was Mazraoui. He's always been a favourite of mine, signing on that right back position. He can also play defensive midfield. We brought him in from Bayern Munich. I just feel like that was a good deal. He hasn't really played, so I think he will get better with a little bit of game time at the club. And then to replace Nick Pope, we also signed Alban Lafont. He will be a very good player, I think. Brought in from Nantes, where he was doing okay, 6.83 in that first season. I think with our team, he will really go on and develop into a top quality goalkeeper. João Pedro, one of the better wonderkids in the game this year, in my perspective. We signed him for 41 million in a part exchange. But I actually can't remember what the part exchange was, to be honest. But he's now gone to Newcastle, 7.1 rating last season in the Championship, but I think he will be very good in the squad. And then finally, the last one we picked up at the end of last season was Joško Gvardiol, who is a centre-back and can play at left-back. And he's just a top quality player. Signed from Leipzig in the Bundesliga, where he'd been very, very good. I just think he'll be an excellent addition in central defence. But the money hasn't stopped being spent. I said I was going to spend a fortune, and I am holding true to my word. We've also brought in Daniel Marlon as a striker to support Isaac, with Muakoku going out on loan. You can see again around that 7 rating for Borussia Dortmund. I think we'll bump him up and he'll be a great player. James Maddison has also finally come to Newcastle. I wanted a few more English players in the team, and he evidently fits the bill and will support in those attacking midfield areas. Mark Guehi, a young Englishman from Crystal Palace, £30 million signing for him. Again, not been bad at Palace and adds a bit of depth in defence. The biggest signing was Conor Gallagher for £100 million. He is extremely highly rated, now worth over 200 million allegedly. But he was doing all right at Chelsea, not playing too often, but he is just a good quality player. He'll be around the England setup for some time. And then finally, we brought in James Justin, who can play both at right and left back. He costs 50 million. But a lot of this is about squad depth. I want a lean squad, but one that we've got pretty much every position covered. And you can see it right back now, James Justin and Mazraoui. We've got Lafont and Boyce Clark as the goalkeepers. Gvardiol, Guehi, Garcia, Niakate and Schlotterbeck. They are 5 excellent central defenders that we can rotate around and make sure we're getting full value out of them. And then Ryan Sessegnon will be the main left back. For now, we do also have Niakate, Schlotterbeck, Gvardiol and Justin that can play in that left back position. So lots of cover, which should mean these players are getting a lot of game time. We just got to hope they don't get too injured. In central midfield, we have Bruno Guimaraes as ever, Højbjerg, Willock, Gallagher and Camavinga, all available to play in those 3 midfield slots. We maybe need one more central midfielder, but we are just struggling a little bit for the squad requirements because we lose 4 places for homegrown Newcastle talent. And if we have a little look at the homegrown talent from Newcastle, which I've already loaded up here, it's pretty much just Kevin Mbabu that we can sign. So that is not going to help us. We don't need another right back or fullback in general in the club. So there's nobody else that we can really bring in except for the goalkeepers. And they're not really going to help with the club. So that is the area that I'm most worried about. And then in attack, we have Cunha, Pedro, Maddison, Diaz, Alan Saint-Maximin, and then the 2 strikers, Marlon and Isaac. But lots of players that can play up front, lots of strikers that can play on the wings. It's only Isaac that's the out-and-out striker, and he is just a sensational player. So I think really I'm fairly happy with the squad. One of the other disappointing things, actually, if we just have a look at the player screen here, if I clear everything, the best players that are available to us actually aren't that great. We can maybe bring in Bastoni from Inter. Zaniolo obviously is now at Man United, would cost a fortune. But these aren't like the world-class superstars that we really would like. And if we get rid of that little tick, you can see a lot more names appear who we would like to bring in that would be absolute world class. And we do have the money to sign them, but unfortunately they're just not interested in coming to Newcastle at the moment. But we do also still have some wage budget. So if somebody becomes available, I will bring them in and try and upgrade the squad where we can. But today we are taking on Spurs away from home. You can see we've got a fairly easy run after that for a little while, so I'll probably jump quite far ahead before the next episode, especially as we're now used to being in the Champions League as well. So get through the early season if we can, and then focus on the business end of the season later on. But against Spurs today, we're going to have Isaac, Saint-Maximin and Diaz up front, Willock, Camavinga and Bruno Guimaraes in midfield, so the same front 6 we had last season, but then a couple of changes in defence with Justin and Gvardiol coming in the wing-back positions and Lafont in goal, Schlotterbeck and Niakate in central defence. But I feel much more confident about this team compared to last season. My only worry is squad depth if players were to get injured. So hopefully that doesn't come to pass and we can stay fit for the season. But here's Otavio, puts the ball in and Kane there heading it over the bar. Early chance there for Spurs, who've dominated the opening part of this game. We definitely need to hit back a bit here. We've not even had a shot still. Time to demand a little bit more from the team there. But 0-0 still at the moment. 20 minutes gone. And here is Caprie. Now Romero. Ball goes out. James Justin is there. Now Brahim. Puts it across. Saint-Maximin arriving. It's headed out, but only to Gvardiol. He puts it in, and it's just flicked up and caught there for Caprie. This is a very different Spurs side, to be fair. Looking at those names, they've still got the key players in there, but there is quite a bit of change as Gvardiol tries to deal with the ball. Plays it over the top, and Saint-Maximin is there. He's got Isaac across him, and he holds it up. He's forced out of the goal again, and he's given the ball away, but wins it again. And Saint-Maximin here, it's just fallen to Isaac there. There was a little ricochet, but you give Alexander Isaac a moment's notice in the box, and he is going to find the back of the net, and that's exactly what has happened to Spurs here. Saint-Maximin with the ball, and then that little ricochet, I think it came off Valentin Rosier, and Isaac there just tucking the ball into the back of the net to give us a 1-0 lead. So we can be pretty happy with that, given that we've been on the back foot for most of this game. But that is what having a player like Alexander Isaac does for you. And you can see the match momentum there, after being all Spurs early on, has now swung towards us. But Spurs are going to look to try and get an equaliser before half-time here. Saint-Maximin really sticking the tackles in today. And now Romero, forced to go back to the goalkeeper. Ball over the top, should be dealt with by Justin, who seems to have swapped positions with Niakate. They're just rearranging themselves now as Camavinga breaks forward, finds Isaac. What a ball to Willock that was. And Willock does finish it. Caprie maybe should have done a little bit better there. But Willock does get the goal that pass from Isaac deserved. An excellent assist for Alexander Isaac there. Let's hope he can stay fully fit this season. But it was beautifully weighted, and then Willock just did enough to get it past Caprile in goal. And it's now 2-0 heading in towards half-time. And I think we can be fairly satisfied with our day's work so far, as we send the team back out fully encouraged and motivated to keep going. I think another goal would send us to the top of the table as well, which I'd be pretty happy with. Otavio here with a free kick though is sent away, and that's just over the top there from Romero, the centre-back for Spurs. But big games later today, Chelsea and United, and the City Liverpool on the opening day of the season. I think it could be fairly happy opening day to the season there for a lot of the neutrals. Here's Gvardiol to Camavinga. Now Bruno Grimash out to Willock. He's got Brahim with him, and he plays it through, and Isaac's in again, and he puts it in the top corner. There may well be an offside there, but I don't mind too much. I mean, that was just excellent play, and yet again Isaac putting the ball to the back of the net, but that one is offside this time. 20 minutes left to go now. James Justin with the throw in, sends it back to Lafont. Gvardiol down the left side. Saint-Maximin over the top, and Isaac is in once more. Oh, and that's just gone wide there. I don't know how he failed to score there. But let's make a couple of changes if we can. Maybe bring Ryan Sessegnon in at left back. Camavinga could maybe get a little bit of a rest and give James Maddison some time in central midfield. And then let's also take Saint-Maximin off for João Pedro and see what he can do on his debut in the last 15 minutes or so. We've got a lot of strength and depth on the bench there. But as soon as we get 2-3 injuries, we do start to get into a little bit of trouble. And here's Todibo. Richarlison just hanging on to it. Finds Valentin Rosier. Bissouma. Back over to Koopmeiners. This is a good Spurs team. And the ball over the top there, dealt with by Guehi. Brahim now has it, and he's lost out. And Udogie on the attack has got in on goal. And it's a good save by Lafont there. On his debut, trying to keep that clean sheet, and well cleared by Sessegnon. But we can be pretty happy so far with how our debutants have been doing, as Justin takes the throw into Willock. Ball sent back to Ryan Sessegnon. He might have a shot, he does, but it's easy for Caprile to save. Sessegnon looking to make the most of this game against his former team. And here's Skip out to Reguilon. Back to Skip again, now Son. And Ndombele. Gray, he can't get the tackle in, and Devine has got him behind, and there goes Lafont's clean sheet, which he's not going to be happy about. But Spurs now do have have a chance to get back into this game with 5 minutes to go. It was well played. Richarlison did very well. Niakate lost Devine, and Devine did finish it. And he looks like a top quality wonder kid this year in the game as well. But at the moment, we are still in control. 5 minutes of added time to deal with as Brahim takes the corner. Niakate's in there, and it is Moussa Niakate that gets the goal for 3-1 against Spurs. And that should be 3 points on the opening day in a difficult away fixture as well. Great header there from Niakate, as our new players do very well, but it's the old boys getting the goals. Here's Maddison with a free kick down the line. Romero does come and steal it. Tries to switch the play to Reguilon. Willock has absolutely poached the ball there, and now he's attacking down the right flank. He's got players with him, and he finds Højbjerg filling in at right back, and he's made the mistake. Ibusuma on the attack, Niakate coming across well to steal it, and then just running into Højbjerg, who's not having the best game since he came on. And Richarlison there, dinking it over Lafont. I think that'll be a goal. The referee's going to have a little discussion with VAR, but I'm pretty sure that'll be a second goal for Spurs here, and indeed it is. Højbjerg not having the best game since he came on against his former team, and Richarlison there having an excellent one. Beautifully dinked finish there from Richarlison for 3-2, and we have 2 minutes left to survive, but thank God for that Niakate header earlier, and that should see us through. There we go, 3-2 victory, a very good result from the boys, as we do manage to get 3 points in our ledger on the opening day. Let's see how the other games go, because there's some very big matches this afternoon. You can see United lost to Chelsea, that's good for us, and then City losing at home to Liverpool is concerning, because I think Liverpool yet again are going to be the main challengers this season. If we just have a look at their transfer history for this season, they haven't brought many players in. Vitinha coming in from PSG. Did they sign anybody at the end of last season? They also brought in Kalulu from Milan for £81 million, but yeah, they haven't changed their team too much, just a couple of strong additions which will keep their usual squad unity. But looking ahead, we've got some good games that we should be winning coming up in the league, and then it's probably this Liverpool game that we're most interested in for the next episode. So if you did enjoy the transfers and the winning start to the season, do drop a like down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. But until next time, see ya.